What's going on, guys? It's been a couple days since I have done a video. Um, we wanted to get a hike in, or hopefully a couple hikes in before it gets too hot to really be going on longer hikes down in Southern California. So figured while we were out on the trail today, I would knock out a quick review. And more often than not, I'm wrong when I say a review is going to be quick, but this time I feel like it will actually, in fact, be a very quick review. Today I wanted to talk about the new Aquilus record, Bellum 2. As the name suggests, this is part 2 in a series of records by neoclassical blackened folk metal project Aquilus. This is a solo project out of Melbourne, Australia. And if you are not familiar with the project, which I guess wouldn't surprise me, this is a fairly, I hadn't heard of this project until probably 2 or 3 years ago. Not necessarily underground, pretty well received, especially Bellum 1. I think that record garnered a lot of hype for the project. But if you are not familiar, this project is almost equal parts neoclassical and metal. And I think what really sets Aquilus apart is the sincerity and the skill with which he executes the neoclassical elements on these songs. He's clearly a very, very talented multi-instrumentalist. And it's not one of those projects where, there's a violin part or a piano part to just sort of add another layer to a metal song. It's almost the opposite, where he's using metal influence to sort of elevate and progress the neoclassical genre. And neoclassical is kind of a weird descriptor, especially when applied to this project, because, to my ear, and granted, I don't have the best ear for just straight up classical music, but to my ear, it's not so much neo as just classical, right? It's genuinely, to the average person, you could play a section of one of these songs and it could just sound like Mozart to them, right? Because it's so well executed. And he's probably classically trained. He might be, self-taught, but the level of musical expertise and knowledge and competence that he has is just, it's incredible. I want to compare the project to Aquilus in the sense that it sort of feels like it has that kind of dark metal vibe that Aquilus was going on. It's black metal. Yes, there are elements of death metal. Obviously, there are classical and folk elements throughout the songs, but overall, it feels like what Aquilus was doing, but sort of updated and revamped. And as much as I want to compare the project to Aquilus, I think the real comparison here is Opeth, especially like early to mid-era Opeth, because Opeth definitely had those neoclassical elements as well, but not to the same extent as Aquilus. And Aquilus really has, again, I really can't stress this enough. It's like he's playing neoclassical music with metal instrumentation and metal elements added in. Some tracks on this album, especially track 2, are heavy. They sound like Blackwater Park era Opeth. There's death growls, they're really heavy, chuggy guitars, and then it'll just break into this like beautiful acoustic interlude. And again, I really want to stress this. It's not just like, oh, cool, an acoustic interlude, and then it goes back to a metal section. It's like really fleshed out and fully actualized classical music. The album itself is about an hour long. It's 8 tracks, and you get a lot of content. A lot of musical ideas on this record. And that has made it a joy to revisit over and over again. I think I've listened to it 3 or 4 times since it came out in the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It came out pretty recently. I think it came out this May. And I'm just further blown away every time I listen to it. I really, really love this project, and it just amazes me that it is one guy doing it all. And that kind of explains the length between releases. I think at one point he even had like a 10-year gap between albums, just because it's probably really draining to write music this dense and complex and layered. So I definitely recommend this record. I'm going to be giving it a lot more listens as the year progresses. And if you have not checked this project out, I cannot stress enough, check it out. I really think there's something for everyone. Even if you're not a metal person, you may enjoy the classical elements. If you are a metal person and you like Opeth or Aquilus, it's almost certainly going to be in your wheelhouse. If you have listened to it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys have been listening to this year. I don't think I've done a single video in 2024, so I'm definitely lagging. There's a lot of records I want to get to, and I'm very curious what records people are enjoying this far this year. So drop a comment. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one.